So we'll chat a little bit while we're eating, and then afterwards we'll get your code pushed, Zach, and then we'll clean up and call it. So the Pat. And my God, Zach. All right, Zach, so you started learning JavaScript on Friday.
Yes,
That was your first time ever using JavaScript. And you just spend all day working with it, and you've actually gotten your point to work. You actually got it to work.
Yeah.
What was the hardest part about using JavaScript for you?
And it's more of not about JavaScript, but me like kind of thinking in Java and just kind of working to Java with it, because that's like I did for 3-4 years that I worked with code in classes.
Right. We always think of working in Java. What has been the biggest difference in your thinking of thinking in Java versus thinking in JavaScript? Like, what's that mindset difference?
It's more of like syntax.
Syntax.
I'm mixing them up. It's like.
So that's the biggest thing, is that you're. Give me an example. Yeah.
Let's say this not ask and tell. That's actually Java or something.
That's Java.
Yeah.
Framework specific.
I guess that's actually the biggest thing.
Java is the biggest hurdle?
Yeah.
Got it.
Because it's like you have a dot, you have your equals and all that. If statement and for those are very same. I would say it's Java.
Which I agree. I feel like a lot of people, it's just like understanding that stuff. Like, what's a speech builder, and what's a this.ask, and what are these test cases? I feel like you grabbed on really fast though. Like, Tangus and Jane. I don't know. How have you felt that Zach's been coming on compared to you and James? And your now your background is electrical engineering, so it makes sense. Like, Zach, how many years of computer science at OSU did you take before you went on your siesta?
I dropped out. That's basically my third semester here, but I did some also community college back in Seattle.
In Seattle? When were you living in Seattle?
2013 to 2015.
Right before you came here?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And I was in community college. Probably took like 3 coding classes, I think, or 4. Then came here.
Oh yeah? I like that model. Like, going through the... Why are you listening to me? I like that model of going through the community college because it's so much cheaper. You save a bunch of money and then you can come up here like it's nothing.
And at the same time, it really helped me to get used to American lifestyle.
Oh yeah?
Because that
Originally from Asia?
From Mongolia.
Oh, very... Okay. Are you originally from Mongolia? Okay. How'd you guys meet?
So he's looking for an apartment.
Oh, right.
And then my friend happened to be like we are like having the mutual friend.
Yeah.
So he told me like a friend of his.
Him
like,
and both were living in Seattle basically at the same that community college at the same time. And I was like, I got set to go to Ohio, decided to go to Ohio, and he was like, well, my old roommate's there. He just got there like a few months.
That's weird.
That's how it is.
Small world. Okay. And now you guys are living together?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Till end class semester.
Right. Do you think you learned anything today? Or did it feel like you were...
About Joe and then all that is platform stuff.
What about her? Understanding how to build apps for her and for Google.
Yesterday. That was last night's stuff. Going through
Last night you learned a lot about her?
A lot about her. Actually, like I didn't know that like simple stuff like this would could be like just transfer and kept on testing and all that. I thought it would be like a lot bigger to the
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
It's pretty simple.
I agree. Do you think it's difficult for a lot of, for some reason you really just grabbed on fast? Like you're sitting there and I feel like you were able to put in your headphones and watch the video and it worked for you. I feel like a lot of people come in and then they have no experience and they're just like overwhelmed. Was there any part that you were like, wow, this didn't make any sense? I wish the video would have talked more about that? Because I plan on making these videos once a week, you know, for the Friday hacks. So if there was like a part of it that you hit and you're like, this needs more explanation, or he needed to go slower, then I could, when I'm filming this week's video, I can take a little bit more time to explain that concept, so that you guys. Cause my biggest point is I wanted to anybody in the world, if someone's watching this video in India right now, they can figure out how to build a voice app. They can publish it all for free.
Personally, I think the video is pretty good and informative. Only thing, just also like as a new to Java, like just explain the commands like little bit more, or like take a little bit of time on what does that ask do, tell do, or stuff.
Do you think it would be, Tangus, you two, do you think it would be important to, so right now I've been focusing on Java a lot because I really like that you build one code base and then it gives you an Alexa skill and a Google action. Do you think it would be important for people to learn how to back it up and to go, today we're learning how to build an Alexa skill using JavaScript. So you're not using the Java framework. You're just coding a basic Alexa skill. And then the same with Google. Do you think that it would be valuable to learn those individually without Java? You guys might not have the experience to know, but in your minds are you thinking, wow, I wish we didn't have Jovo abstracting all this knowledge and that we were really just learning how to build an Alexa skill or a Google action? Or is your thought, Jovo is really nice, Jovo makes it easier?
I think Jovo makes it pretty easy because you're having one base code and just make a little adjustments here and there and make it the voice is smart speakers in a sense. But before the hearing about you guys, I was actually like planning to, not really planning, but wish was in campus. Thinking about like making a little lab for myself. So I have a Google Home account.
Good.
And that's Pixel, so it's like it's all Google system going on. And I have like Philips Hue light, let's say, then change that and connect it to the TV and do something just a little lab for myself, So I don't know. There are people like that, but then from a developer's perspective, coming to Java is actually pretty amazing.
I think their getting started page, like when you just go to jovo.tech and you just scroll down, it says 5 steps to getting started. And it just walks you through that, and you have an app. You can try it on your Alexa device, you can try it on your Google devices, it's all there. And I think it takes with a little bit of a development background, I feel like it takes you less than an hour to do. So I feel like the barrier to entry is really low with Jovo, and Jovo is an open source framework, and they've got a lot of developers who are actively working on the project. Every time they release a new feature, either Amazon or Google, it feels like it only takes a week or two for someone in the community to go and add that feature in. Right, because I was, Voice first got invited to speak at one of the meetups here in Columbus called the Alexa Developer Group Meetup. Okay. And while we were there, I was talking about Jovo and how awesome it was, and then another company came up to me and they said, did Jovo add in account linking? Account linking is like when you need to sign into the Uber app, like you say, hey, book me an Uber. Then Google says, okay, you need to finish setting up your account in the Google Home app.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard that before. That's account linking. So Jovo originally didn't handle account linking. It was like, you can't do it. But 2 weeks after the feature was released, they had it on Jovo. So the company was asking me, they said, when we were looking at Jovo didn't have account linking, which was why we went the native route and we built out both an Alexa skill and a Google action. Is that still the case? And I said, no, you can definitely link account with Jovo. So I'm really happy with the rate that Jovo's been increasing. And now the thing that they don't have is transactions, which I think are big. I think voice commerce is going to get bigger, where you're like, hey, I want to buy a thing, or buy a t-shirt, or buy a toothbrush. And then it uses the Apple Pay and the Google Pay information to make that a thing. Jovo doesn't have that yet. You have to manually go into either Alexa or Google and do that. I think it's only going to take another week or two, and then Jovo's going to have that too. And it's going to be as easy as doing dot charge their credit card number, or dot charge the dollar amount that you need to charge them, and then it'll be in an app. So I like Jovo. Tangus, what was the biggest problem that you had today?
Like setting the state and like the intent, I guess. Like setting the state, setting the intent. I was not sure like how to like actually I wasn't like before. I wasn't like I didn't know like so. Ideally, I was thinking like if I just do like set session and then like a couple like set session. I didn't know like they're like working as separate functions, you know. And you told me like once we like add it here, then it's gonna work like a follow-up state, yeah. So it's just like writing down like all the test cases before actually writing the code.
Was drawing the diagram helpful, or was that not helpful?
It was really helpful.
Okay. I feel like test cases are a big thing with Jovo in general that are difficult for people to understand with voice apps. Because when we learn unit tests in computer science in college, I feel like they're totally different from how we're doing voice apps here, or unit tests here. But I feel like that's just the nature of voice. It's like, how do you test someone saying a thing to a device and then getting a response back and then testing again? Like when it's all just code, it's like, okay, I feel like Java unit tests are they're easier to figure out. Mm-hmm. This feels less intuitive. It's like, what does send do? What does this is ask, and what is it actually checking in there? Mm-hmm. Are those the kind of things that it's like unit tests still aren't totally clicking?
Okay, I mean, now I'm kind of get like what these guys are doing.
Okay.
But then, still I get. I'm not sure. I was not sure like why we are like adding like then after we creating this, you know. So ask return. So default, and then change the temperature intent, and then change the temperature intent. Put it in a state. Oh, this one.
Ah,
Yeah.
you just found another bug.
Yeah.
You set the state and you gave it an intent that doesn't exist in that state.
Yep.
Cool. That's why we chat. Okay, I agree. I feel like test cases are something that nobody really gets. Well, when you look at it, you just don't get it. It's not intuitive. It takes explaining. It takes learning. It's not like you just see this and you're like, oh, I know how to make a test case based off of this.
Like literally the first 30 minutes an hour, I was like just reading through that sample case,
Got it.
trying to figure out stuff out.
Interesting. So one of the things that we did today, it's the first time we've done at one of these Saturday Jam sessions, I didn't have the prior work ready for you. Like when we started here today, I created the template just like we did last night at the hack night, and then I pushed that up to GitHub. Typically, when we worked with Tangus and James and some of the other voice developers, it's been like, hey, here's this existing app, I'll add you guys to it, and then you're able to go in and kind of see what's already in there and copy and paste those to use it. Whereas today it was all of the tests, garbage. We were going to replace those with totally new ones. All of the intents, garbage. We're going to replace them with new ones. So there was no real reference for you to be like, okay, this is how they're already doing it. How do I copy and paste that to make it work for a different test case? You having the experience of both, did you notice any difference working with the template versus having the existing project?
I mean, like having an existing project and then with the, like, you know, you gave us the template and stuff, so it was, I think it was easier like last time because we already had the frame, like
there was a lot of code already in there.
Plus we like know what we have to do, so, and then here we have to like write everything by ourselves, so that's a little
more challenging.
That link you sent with Joe's unit testing, that actually helped a lot.
That documentation? I also sent you the same link on Slack for the unit testing. Helpful, not helpful?
Okay.
And here's everything about unit testing. This is like their full documentation.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely
when people run into problems, I guess a bigger question, when other developers with voice first run into these problems of, I don't understand unit testing, is me sending them this link a good enough resource? Or my two options that I'm considering, if someone's telling me, hey, I don't get unit testing, I can either sit down with them and I can spend one-on-one time teaching them how to do this, or I can send them a link and then let them ask a better question once they get more information.
The second way would be better.
So that's what I'm wondering. If this offers enough information so that I can be like, you go read this for a bit, and after you've read it, come back to me with a better question, with a more defined question.
They're taking
Do you think that's possible?
They're taking it step by step, and they're actually explaining what's all this doing that is on the screen already. On the file.
Because I've realized that my time, when we're at these like hack nights, because I'm one of the more known or because I know a little bit about voice app development. You weren't at the first night, but the first hack night, rather than having a video, it was me up there, I was coding, and I was doing it in real time. So I'd do a step, and then I'd be like, everybody good? And some people would say good, some people would have questions, other people would just sit there.
Yeah.
And then I'll lose one of them. Like, they won't get a step, but they won't ask a question. And then because they didn't do that step, we get 5 minutes later, and I'm like, everybody good? And they're like, dude, you lost me 10 minutes ago, but there's no way you can catch me up. So it's like that, my time isn't scalable in that way. And the solution to that problem was, I record a video, and then everybody can go at their own pace, and anytime they hit a problem, they just ask me, and then I can go over and see what part of the video they're at, and then the solution to that. With this unit testing document, it's the same. It's like I can, when someone doesn't know anything about the unit testing, I can sit down and I can try to like help the one person and then eliminate my time to only on that. Or I can send them the link, have them explore a little bit, and then go. And then they can ask me a better question. I thought everybody was good last night. How was Nalini? Was she understanding, or was she just kind of? Do you think she learned anything last night?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fair. She showed up, which is like all I can ask for. I like the little groups that break out. We'll be good on this for today. I like the little groups that